All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the next anticipated releases. This is March. I do have that right now. I was a little confused. It's because I wasn't in the last month, so I'm a little behind on my months. Anyway, I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Travis.
Yeah, and this is kind of a huge month. We each have two different games to talk about, but I'm pretty sure we all pretty much want to talk about like every single game that everyone brought to the table, which is kind of why Pat's here, because he doesn't really have any game. He's just kind of here to talk about every single game that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Which will be great. So we have our usual 6 games, but unlike I think the past couple months, we're going to have a lot more to say about each of these games.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm actually going to...
Last month was great, okay? I was really passionate about my choice.
Your War Group DLC for a game you don't even have?
Yeah,
Dude,
that was the one.
It was funny because I watched it back afterwards because obviously I wasn't a part of it, and I was watching and I was like, man, you guys were so unenthusiastic. Like Travis right away was like, yeah, this game is horse crap. Like, it was hilarious.
Hey, Dreams was a big release.
That's true. Dreams
has
was
some
one.
cool stuff. But anyway, this month is better.
Yeah, it is. So I'm actually going to start because I have 2 games that I are really good and people are going to be enjoying, but I don't know a whole lot about them, so I'm just going to kind of throw them out there. The first one I'm going to do is Neo 2, which is a prequel to the original Neo, which I hate when game companies do that, where they call it 2, but that one's the prequel. I feel like if it's the prequel, it should have a different name besides
Looking
2.
at you, Shadow of the Colossus.
Right? But whatever. Neo was a fantastic game from what I heard. I never actually played it. It's on my shelf. It's an extremely hard game. It's a samurai-based game where you fight demons. The enemy design and the layout of it, it's so cool. I don't know too much about, like I said, the user interface and everything, but just seeing how the damage is shown and how the combat works in it, it's not a game where you can go into it and just hack and slash. You have to kind of go into things with a strategy, which is kind of a common trend with samurai games, I've noticed. Most samurai games have that more slow-paced combat, which is really cool. So I can only assume that Neo 2 is going to be similar. These games get compared a lot to the Dark Souls franchise, so if you're interested in those games, these games are just as awesome from what I've heard. It seems like they did a lot of things, just like tightening up the controls and everything. I don't know too much about the plot of the game, so again, I can't speak too much about that. But if you're interested in Neo, this is a game that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. It gives me more like the Sekiro vibes, if anything. And Sekiro won Game of the Year last year, so I mean, hey, if that's not shouting for it's a good game if you want a nice challenge with it as well, I don't know what else can really tickle your fancy.
I'm gonna tell you right now how out of the loop I am. I thought those were the same game.
Wait, Sekiro, really?
Yeah, I thought Neo and Sekiro is the same game.
So let that be a sign that we don't know much about Neo. So that's why we started with it.
But it is a big release.
It is.
All right, is it my turn? Am I up?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. The game that I'm going to be talking about is one of the most gorgeous indie games that I've ever seen before, and that is a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, being Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This game, I believe, was first announced, or first at least kind of revealed or teased in 2018, I believe. I don't believe it was at E3. I believe it was at a Gamescom. I don't know for a fact on that, but this game was teased. Oh, actually, I believe it might have been 2017. But if you're curious about it, most of the time we would say a lot of good things about indie games, about having a unique art style, about having unique gameplay, a lot of things that are very more specialized to a game that they're trying to create. They're not trying to usually go for top-of-the-line graphics, usually because they don't really have the budget to do it. But one thing that's been always true about Ori is that the graphics have always been stunning. And in the exact same way, what they do with like the lights and how it contrasts with the background. Usually the background is kind of dark and whatnot, but the way that Ori appears on there is very bright, it very much stands out. And you're really kind of defeating these behemoth-like creatures when you're going through it. You're being chased down by these enemies, you're trying to find some counterattack strategies. It's a lot of platforming and quick thinking going in with some kind of Metroidvania elements as well. So first of all, the game was almost unanimously praised and just loved universally by fans and whatnot. And a sequel to this seems to get a lot of people having the same feelings, and so it's looking to be another game that kind of builds on the hype that it has. And I really don't like using the word hype because I've seen it be misused in a lot of cases, but this is a game that I believe has done a lot to deserve the excitement that it's actually gotten. So in terms of as a game, it seems like Ori and the Will of the Wisp is going to be continuing what Ori and the Blind Forest did right with the trend of amazing platforming, beautifully, it looks like a hand-drawn world, and my god, seriously, if you're watching the trailer, the graphics are just stunning.
Yeah, and I remember the first game was really well made, kind of like you were saying. I also remember the first game being a bit challenging, too. So it's not just... I mean, Nick talked about how gorgeous the game is. The soundtrack in it is also awesome. But I think the game also doesn't get, like, a ton of recognition just for being an awesome game, too, you know?
Yeah.
The way that it plays and everything is so much fun. Again, the first game is one that I played a little bit. I forgot who. It might actually be Matt's.
Matt liked it. Matt likes Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah, I remember this was like one of the first Xbox games that Matt ever played, and he got such a kick out of the game. So if Matt enjoys it, you know it's probably a good game. 'Cause Matt complains about literally everything.
Damn. One thing I do want to mention there too, I hear the controls in this game are also really good. You know, sometimes with indie games they can have a little bit finicky of controls. I heard that it's not that way with Ori, with the Ori games. I hear these controls are usually very fluid and usually easy to control. So take that one with a grain of salt, because that's just here from what I've personally heard from people. I didn't hear it in like certain like reviews or like articles about the game. But again, everything that I've been seeing for this game seems to be like it's going in the right directions for what you need to continue either like I don't know if it's technically a sequel in terms of the story, but it looks to be based on some of the events that are happening in the background, because it does a lot of letting you create a narrative in your own mind instead of like explicitly telling you through dialogue or by voice acting, and I think that's always really cool. It's more along the lines of Hollow Knight than along the lines of like, I don't know, Valkyria Chronicles. That one's voice acted. I've played it a little bit recently, so stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. No,
all right, who's up next?
I can talk about Mountain Blade 2 real quick.
Yeah.
All right, so the game I'm going to talk about, the one that I actually like am here to talk about other myself, is Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. It is going into early access in March. Just for a little bit of context here, this is a sequel to a game, Mountain Blade Warband. That game, by the way, came out in 2010. Okay, so the first game came out in 2010. The sequel was teased in 2012, and it is now getting released in 2020.
Oh God.
Okay, so like a lot of people are really excited and looking forward to this game. A lot of my friends played the first Mountain Blade game and loved it. Like I played a bunch of it too. It's pretty fun. It's like it's a pretty classic fighter. It's not like a fighting game. It's more like an action RPG, we said, and there's a lot of really fun things that you can do with friends, and it's a really engaging game. So I'm hoping that that's even built more upon in the second one. Like I said, I don't really know what to expect from this game, but I feel like a lot of people are going to have high expectations considering it's been 10 years, pretty much. I do want to end it with this, though. I hope they can live up to this expectation, because the company that made it is called Tail Worlds, okay?
That's cool.
And
man.
they have made a statement saying they do not plan for this game to spend years in early access, and will hopefully bring a rich, polished experience to fans of the Bannerlord game. So, or fans of the Mount and Blade games. So I'm hoping they can deliver on that.
Yeah, hopefully.
I
That sounds kind of
so,
cool.
too. Oh yeah, it does. I was watching it a little bit before we started recording, and yeah, at least in terms of like the atmosphere and like the world that they're actually showing, it looked to be really unique, and it seems to be something that, especially if you're playing with like a party of friends, it would be really enjoyable.
Yeah, and I always get scared like when you have those games that took so long to come out. Like that's kind of what Square Enix does a lot, and then the longer it takes, the more hyped it gets, and then you kind of reach that point where your expectations are higher than they could ever really reach, you know. So hopefully they don't run into that trap.
Yeah, that's the goal. But like the first one, I think it's funny that they use the words rich and polished, because the first game is notoriously like glitchy and unpolished, and like there's a lot of broken mechanics in the game. Like if you have, for example, this is my favorite thing, I would always do this. If you have a spear, like you're using a spear, the AI is so dumb, literally all you have to do is just stand there with the spear and it will run into it and die. So like I beat an entire, like I literally took on by myself an entire 10,000 troops just by doing that for like 3 hours.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was a notoriously stupid AI, so I'm hoping that they fix that for the second one here.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I guess we'll see, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Travis, what you got?
Let's see. I'll do the one that I'm less excited about, and probably most people are less excited about. It's a game that is not very challenging, at least based on the demo that I've been playing. And that's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX, right? That's the official title.
Yeah, Rescue Team DX.
It was actually more fun and more story than I thought it actually would have when I just heard about it, because I never played it as a kid or anything. But I thought it was really fun that it asked you a bunch of random questions, and it decided what kind of Pokemon you were based on how you acted. So apparently I'm a Mudkip, which is pretty
that's
cool.
a good one.
Yeah, right?
That's a good pick. I was
And
going to say, if you
then-
got a Bulbasaur, that might be a little sad.
Yeah. So then I got to pick Charmander as my buddy, because obviously I'm not going to just ignore him. And then with type differences, it worked out really well. But it was actually pretty interesting. Gameplay-wise, at least the very first 2 dungeons, you don't have to think about anything. All you have to do is walk and hit A, and you'll kill everything in your path.
That's my kind of game.
Barely even get hurt. So I'm hoping that in future dungeons that it would be a little more difficult. I mean, obviously it's not really aimed for a 20-plus-year-olds to be playing this type of
That's
game,
true.
probably. But
An elite gamer like yourself,
yeah,
Travis.
elite pro gamer like myself. But it was eye-opening to play that and then go immediately into Tokyo Mirage, where I got obliterated in one move.
I do have to say, when we're talking about elite gamers and people who are very try-hard, it's hilarious, because I've been seeing on Twitter, there was people who were really upset about this game, because there were people who were, like, manipulating the choices and things to get a certain Pokemon. And I'm like,
It's like a BuzzFeed quiz at that point.
right,
What the hell?
right. And then people were getting really pissed, and they're like, "You're disrespecting the integrity of the game by choosing questions that you don't believe in or whatever."
Oh,
like,
Lord.
And I'm like, "Wow, that is intense."
I mean,
I feel like they're
I'll be
trying
honest,
to make
I
a
looked-
controversy.
I looked up all the answers. I wanted to be a Mudkip.
I rigged it.
That's a lie, Travis. You wanted to be Charmander.
I
Don't lie
actually
to
got
me.
a Bulbasaur, and I got pissed off.
Had to
Why-
reset.
Why does everyone diss on Bulbasaur?
I love
Bulbasaur's my
Bulbasaur.
favorite.
Dude, I like Bulbasaur
Okay,
too.
I respect Bulbasaur. He's a cool person, but type-wise, he's poo-poo.
That's
No,
true, I
okay.
guess.
I feel like, Pat, what you were saying, I feel like they're trying to create a controversy where there just completely isn't one.
Oh,
I feel like they
yeah.
try to give, like, a fun way to start off the game where it's just like, you can take this quiz and you're going to be this Pokemon.
That-
They're just like, how dare you? How dare you assume that I'm going to want to be a Pikachu instead of a Charmander? Like,
That's
calm the
What's
hell
funny
down.
is
That's
you
just
still
Twitter
get
in
an option of
2020.
ignoring it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, you
really?
could be like, do you think this is the Pokemon you are? And like, if I got one of the Pokemon I didn't care about, I would have been like, yeah, no, I'm not this random person. But I'm like,
I'm not a Gen
I
6
like
starter.
Mudkip.
What is this?
Yeah, exactly. Because if it was a Pokemon I didn't recognize, I would have ignored it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like out of like all the starter Pokemon, like they have, I think, Gens 1 through 3 starters from like the images that I've been seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could get like any one of them, but there's also ones I think like Psyduck and
Yeah, there was
and
Psyduck.
Meowth and Cubone.
There was obviously Pikachu and Eevee after the
Yeah.
Let's Go and all that fun stuff. But
But yeah, well, either way, like I'm kind of with you, Travis. I like these games never really like spoke to me personally when it came to like the Pokemon games, but you get to play as a Pokemon and meet other Pokemon. Like it's almost like you gotta find a reason like to not like this game. Yeah, it might not appeal to you anymore if you want to have a more grandiose adventure, but if you want to have an enjoyable time, I feel like this game is pretty much meant for you.
Exactly.
Like it's
Yeah.
not gonna be difficult, but you're just
Yeah.
gonna sit down and you have a good time. Like,
and then
why
like
is that a
I
bad
liked
thing?
how the game looked. Like it was really pretty with like just like obviously it wasn't like mind-blowing graphics, but it was like a nice soothing background, and
Yeah.
you're just marching
Yeah, it had, like, a
around
little
with
bit
your
of a storybook
squad of
aesthetic.
Pokemon that are talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah, a nice little like story. It kind of looks like a little bit of a comic or like a kid's novel or something like that in the background, which it's always charming to see that.
Exactly.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. So I'll jump into my second one, and honestly, this is a game I'm probably not even going to do most of the talking for. I'm sure Pat will do a lot of it, and Nick has said he has some stuff to talk about with it too, and that is HalfLife Alyx. This game was announced, probably like a couple months ago at this point now, unless my dates are completely off. And like, it's funny. This game it's cool. It looks really fun. I think the detail that they put into it, it looks like it's going to be a really fun game. I do question the hype on it a lot, and I'm sure Pat will talk about this a little bit too, where I feel like people are going into this game with these totally over-the-top expectations for exactly what this game is going to be. From where I'm standing, it never looked like this was meant to be like some super grand title. Like, judging at how it came out, I mean, the fact that it's VR and everything like that kind of tells me that, well, this wasn't meant to be like some huge Half-Life 3 reveal. It was just meant to be kind of like, I don't know if Valve is just testing out VR with its Half-Life franchise, and that's kind of what this is. But to me, it just seems like something that people should be like, oh, this looks cool. Look at it. It's revisiting the Half-Life world. You get to kind of manipulate VR. It's not even a direct sequel to Half-Life 2, so it's more just meant something kind of fun to interact with. But it feels like people are really pushing for this game to be like, oh, this is going to be the Half-Life 3 we've all been waiting for, when it's not. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how it comes out and what it's like. What I'm more curious, at least from my perspective, is what the reaction is going to be when this game actually comes out. But yeah, so that's kind of where my interests lie.
So Pat, you want to go or do you want me to go?
Nick, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I'm kind of along the lines with Mike. For me, I kind of see this game as more of a, again, either testing the waters with VR or pretty much saying that, pretty much incentivizing people to actually buy VR, because there's a lot of people out there who thought like, or at least in terms of like game companies are like, VR is going to be the next big thing, and I'll be honest, they've pretty much kind of perfected like a console experience in terms of putting a controller in your hand, sitting down and playing a game. And there really isn't as much, at least from what I've seen, about people who really want to get pushed into VR. And it seems like this is a game that they're trying to do that, or at least Steam's trying to do that, because it is Valve. And with kind of the disappointment of Artifact, which I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about Artifact for a long time, but I was looking up like what Valve have done recently, and Artifact popped up, and I was like, forgot about that.
Amazing.
So I think one of the reasons is that I think Valve has gotten a lot of criticism over the years, and this is just pure speculation, about not actually creating a new game. And this is actually at them, which kind of got announced out of the blue, which was still a shock to me, but them saying like, listen, we know that we have franchises that we can use, and I think this is a way for them to have almost a no-lose situation. It's almost like not even a risk on their part. Yeah, it's a risk for doing VR, but it's not as much of a risk because it's Half-Life. Half-Life has been like starved for like 15, 16 years. I think it was 2004 when Half-Life 2 got released, and this is kind of a huge resurgence for the series because people have been foaming at the mouth for just any Half-Life game. So I think especially after kind of like the crap that Artifact tried to be and how much of a failure it was, they just kind of wanted to win, and this is just me thinking about it. But I agree with you, Mike. I don't know if the hype is going to be, or the excitement behind it is really going to be worth it, but we cannot be more clear about it. This is not going to be the Half-Life 3 that everybody's wanting. Half-Life 2 ended on a huge cliffhanger. I don't think this is going to be the resolution that you guys are looking for if you're going into buying the game with that mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was a Valve head back when I was in like middle school, high school. You know, I played all the games, TF2, all the Half-Life games, everything. If you look, Half-Life 3, like that is the biggest meme of the internet. Like everybody knows what it is, you know, and everybody jokes about it. Anybody who's ever played a video game has some kind of ties to like the Half-Life games. I don't care who you are, but you at least heard of them, you know. And like we already know, based on what we've seen in the trailers, this literally is not Half-Life 3. Oh, I think I disconnected there for a second. But
no.
this is very much not Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
The story is taking place in between Half-Life 1 and 2. Based on what we know. So, like, literally, people are going to buy this game thinking that it's going to be like a Half-Life 3. I have friends who literally are buying VR sets right now because they are
Damn.
because they're like, oh, this is Half-Life 3, I need to play it, so I need to get a VR set. And I'm like, don't do that unless it's not Half-Life 3. Mm-hmm. So I agree. I'm on the same page. Like, the hype is way too high for this, and I think it's going to be a really, really cool experience. And because the from what I've seen so far, all of the interactivity you can have with it and the combat and everything you can do with it seems really, really cool.
Oh yeah.
But
I
like I said, it's going to be a great experience, but I don't think it's going to be the experience that everybody's looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think with their goal, at least for Steam's goal in this, is you put out this game, they have a VR headset, and at that point you want to use it more, so then you just buy more VR games. If any game is going to actually create the push to actually get you to buy more VR games and actually get you having a VR headset, this is pretty much the franchise to do it. I mean, the announcement trailer already has 10 million views.
Right.
The excitement's real. That's all I'm saying about it.
No, yeah, and I think I agree. I think that's kind of, the more I think about it, is potentially that's what the reason for this was, is, well, let's use the Half-Life name to kind of really push the VR headset, you know? Mm. Because, yeah, there's probably going to be a ton of people now that are going to go out and buy a VR headset for this. And then, well, now that they have it, they're going to buy the other VR games. So I think that could be a part of it. Again, I don't think that they're just doing it for that reason. Otherwise, they would not have put as much work into the game as they did.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that was probably at least part of their motive behind it.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to the next game then?
Sure.
All right. Now, this is one that was announced at the Nintendo Direct. It got delayed for a little bit, but it's now coming out in March, and that was Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Woo!
This is pretty interesting to me because this is like one of Nintendo's bigger releases in terms of the 2020 years, because we haven't really gotten any announcements for what's coming afterwards. It's really just been Pokemon announcements, Smash announcements. This is actually, like, again, a new game, and Animal Crossing fans also, don't think they've had a new game like ever since either Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. I believe it's a mobile game or like a 3DS game.
Amiibo Festival.
That was the
Thank
one.
you,
That
Mike.
was the one.
Thank you, Mike.
It hasn't been a real Animal Crossing game.
You're right.
We don't acknowledge that,
It's been
kid.
crap. So anyway, people have been wanting an actual Animal Crossing game, like New Leaf, something like that. And this is pretty much it. This is a weird game for me to be talking about because I've never actually been one that have really gotten into Animal Crossing games, but I don't know, something about games that I've been playing recently, it's really speaking to me. And I'll be honest, I jumped the gun. I don't pre-order shit. I pre-ordered this game already. It looks amazing. Some of the things that are a little bit different about it, well, Animal Crossing, just in terms of a basis of the game itself, it's kind of a little bit of a life simulator to an extent, where you're put in this random area, you get to interact with other townsfolk or whatnot, things go on kind of a calendar, like a weekly schedule or whatnot, like for example, KK Slider plays on Saturday nights, I believe, stuff like that. And the whole idea of Animal Crossing New Horizons is that Tom Nook is bringing you out, and you won this island getaway package. So you get to be on this island and pretty much get to have like a little bit of a virtual life. They give you a tent and they get to go out and explore. The big thing that's compelling about this game too is about its multiplayer features. There's a little bit of controversy that came up with how they're doing save files, and that how you're pretty much tied to one save file for it. So pretty much if you have one Nintendo Switch Online, I believe you can only have one island that you can go to. So if you have multiple siblings, I don't think multiple siblings could use the same account. You'd have to get another Nintendo Switch Online for that. But besides that controversy, I've not heard anything too bad about this. You can play with, I believe, up to 8 friends at a time, which is pretty cool. And they're doing a couple of other new things. For example, they're doing Nook Miles as kind of a, I don't know if it's like a parody or if they're trying to do it as a legit thing. It's kind of like a reward program to give you different recipes and whatnot to explore around the island. I don't know. I know my thoughts are scattered on this, but it looks adorable for one. It seems like the charm of Animal Crossing has never left. And being able to mess with your friends too, I believe is a great, great addition. It seems to have I don't know if it's new about crafting items, but there is a crafting table too where you can collect stones and wood just to create, just like fashion an axe and whatnot. It seems to be a lot of what would incentivize you just to play any of the other kind of just do whatever you want kind of sandbox kind of games, but in an Animal Crossing world. So I don't know how else I can say it. Like, I'm super excited for this game, and I never expected to be.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so pumped for this game. Like, I am super like, I put so many hours into the first Animal Crossing when I was a kid. I've never really cared about any of the spin-off games, like the any of the DS games or anything like that. I didn't really care. Yeah. But this, like, having it back on a main console is amazing, and I can't wait to sink all of my time into this.
Oh yeah.
Mainly all my free time. Like any like loading screen I'm in will open up. Like if I'm on my PC, right? If I'm in a loading screen, I'm gonna whip open Animal Crossing really quick and do something. You know, it's gonna be great. Also, the one quick thing I want to mention about this has nothing to do with the actual game itself, but the if you pre-order it, by the way, if you pre-order this game, there's a New Horizons bundle up for pre-order at Best Buy, and for an additional $5, so the game is $60, for an additional $5, bringing the total up to $65 plus tax, you get the game and a plush bell bag in real life.
Oh.
That can hold your change, small knickknacks, or Animal Crossing amiibos. That's this. I'm doing an ad deal from their post right now. No, but it's hilarious. This is what is hilarious to me, because for those of you who have played the game, you know that Tom Nook is a capitalist bastard. And if you buy the bundle, right, it is $65. You get the game for $60 plus the bell bag is $65, right? You can, however, buy the bell bag separately for $20.
Damn.
And if that is not the most Tom Nook thing you have ever heard, oh my god, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Dude, Tom Nook holds all of the cards when it comes down to this game, seriously.
Yeah.
It is.
No, and I feel like, I mean, just above everything we've talked about, the level of detail that they're putting into this game, I think, is what makes me appreciate it so much.
Oh, yeah.
I think there was such a big silence for such a long time from the Animal Crossing franchise, which kind of sucked. Like, this was one of the franchises that on the Wii U, people were saying, well, when is it going to come out for the Wii U? Because we had it for the GameCube, we had it for the Wii, DS, 3DS, where is the Wii U version? And then they put out Amiibo Festival, and everyone was like, what the fuck? So
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, and so I think when the Switch came out, people were saying, all right, it has to come out now, right? And then there was like a year of silence, and then they finally announced it, which was awesome. And I feel like the Switch, for whatever reason, has done an excellent job of like putting franchises back on the map, I guess. Because this game, I feel like, did so much right. I mean, the original Animal Crossing and City Folk, they took steady steps, and I feel like every game from one to the next, it always got better. And I look at what this game does, and I look at just the very little things that they're adding into it, and I feel like it's adding up to make it a really fun game. Like the whole island twist is something they've never done before. It's always just been a city or a town that you live in. So the fact that it's like this island getaway now is something cool. And even the little things like making paths. I remember as a kid, I spent like, I don't know how many hours just wasting my time like building paths because I wanted to design my town so that it looked like Hyrule Castle, I remember.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
So I went into the shop and I designed like all the different paths and stuff. This game actually has pathing designed into it so that instead of like having to just make carpet and throwing it all over your town, you can actually like with the shovel like dig and actually make trails and paths, which is really, really cool. The game has never had that before. So the fact that you actually are capable of in some way like renovating and altering your town in a way that actually doesn't look totally like stupid, I think is going to be really fun, because doing it the way that you had to do in Animal Crossing was A, super tedious, and B, unless you were like a special designer, like really good at it, it looked like crap. You know, you could go online and look up awesome pictures, but then you try to make it and it looks terrible. So I think it's cool that they're actually giving you these options. It feels like the original Animal Crossing was fun, but there were only certain things you could do, right? It was fishing, it was catching bugs, it was all that. I feel like with each edition, they're kind of adding more and more into it, which I think is good, because I feel like new age gamers are a little less patient than they were back then, to where if the original Animal Crossing came out today, people would be saying, well, I don't want to go fishing and catch bugs. So I think it's good that they have all that stuff that you can just do and relax to, but they also have a lot more convenient routing for everything too.
One of my favorite things that I've ever seen when it comes down to just people's angry comments about games is how people would be like comparing like the new Zelda game, just like, oh, Link has a glider now? Well, that's great. Wow. I feel like we need so much more in a Zelda game. And Animal Crossing fans, we can pole vault over a river. Well, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. because
Like Animal Crossing fans have, and it's amazing because you don't need anything big. Like it's just a steady build and it's an enjoyable time,
Yeah.
which is like I don't like when it comes to this game. I don't want to be able to pull out a stick and fight somebody. Like I just want to be able to have just really dumb things to do and like to have like a tent next to like other people like in our friend group and whatnot. I just think
Yeah.
that's the most fun way to enjoy the game.
Well, and I think that's the thing is there's a lot of dumb kids in the world.
Yes.
I was one of them. Like I
I'm
used
still
to
a dumb
in my
kid.
right. like I used to wander around my town and I always forgot where the fucking bridges were. And so I'd be like wandering next to the river for like 10 minutes trying to get on the other
too.
side of it. Yeah. So it's like having the opportunity to pole vault, it's so little and it looks like just okay, whatever, you can pole vault over a river. But to me I'm like, thank God I can stop getting lost in my town now. So like, but that's the thing. They did so many little things like that make me think like, oh, this game is going to be really fun. Because Animal Crossing was always fun, but there were slight things that were tedious, and it looks like this game is making everything just a little bit less tedious, which I think is going to be so much fun. And I love islands, so that's going to be great too.
Oh yeah, it's a very easy sell. One of the big reasons I like the East 8. If you have an island setting, I'm already sold.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Low expectations. Anyway,
I just want
we're really
Sakurai to
excited about the
update-
game if you can't sell.
I want Sakurai to update the villager and have one of his moves just be the pole vault and just like smack it through somebody.
Oh god.
Honestly, I would love if he brought in the pole vault.
Right? Be awesome. Pat, do you have another game?
Nope.
Okay, so I will talk about my other game. This has been a highly anticipated game. A lot of people have been talking about it, especially after E3, and that's Doom Eternal.
Yay.
I don't think Doom needs much explanation of what it is. You're running around killing zombies or whatever the heck. Do they consider them
Demons.
zombies or demons? Yeah.
Demons, yeah.
Demons,
You're-
Hell's armies on Earth, stuff like that.
You're
Yeah,
you're tearing. You are one single man that is destroying all of hell by yourself, just out of pure rage.
Just for the just shits and giggles of it.
Yep.
And you do it in the most gruesome way, and you gotta appreciate that. But what I think is
so
also
it's a game
really
for
cool,
kids, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, this is the game for kids. Is Doom 64 is also going to be releasing.
Yeah.
Is that only Nintendo, or is that also all parties?
It's all of them.
It is all of them, which I think
Yeah.
is pretty cool when they do like a throwback like that, because sometimes you just don't really care about the graphics and you want to go back to the nostalgia that you wanted to. So, I mean, I wasn't allowed to play this game at all as a kid. It went against everything my parents were trying to teach me, that violent video games are bad, and then I eventually broke them. But
Good to know.
until then, it was a no-no, and I could not play. But if you like beat-em-ups, Doom is a good way to go.
Oh, they're so much fun.
You can
Plus,
do so much.
the music is so good. It's so like it puts you right in it, right? Like even if you're not a person, but like
I'm not a person.
I'm telling you, not a person. Okay. I'm telling you this from my own genuine experience. I don't much care for like the beat 'em ups, extremely gory games. I've never really cared about it, right? But I played the Doom. There was a version of Doom that came out a couple years ago. I don't remember what it was called or whatever, but I had never played a Doom game before, never played any game like it, and I had a friend who sat me down and said, he's like, hey, play through the first level, just see what it's like, because it's you have to experience it, right? And then all of a sudden, this like death metal music, pump up music starts playing, and all of a sudden I'm just like, I do like one of the execution kills, and I'm like, okay, I get it now. I get it. This is amazing. This is so much fun. And I just like was running through, because you are like, it's one of those games where you can die, you can lose the game, but it's so hard to, because literally all you have to do is just keep moving forward and kill everything you see.
Yeah.
And it's like, that might not appeal to a lot of people, but like when you have that atmosphere, and they do such a good job with the story and the theming and the music and everything to make it just so much fun.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing, like, id Software is, like, one of my favorite companies just because they just don't give a shit about anything. Because, like, because I'm the opposite. what got me into the Doom franchise was that I did play a game very similar to this, which was Wolfenstein. And Wolfenstein's made by the same exact company. And I'm kind of with you, Pat, where like beat 'em up hack and slash games like that never really appealed to me. But this one was such a special exception because this one is totally self-aware of what it is. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't pretend to be something it's not. You are literally just a guy that is capable of just fucking everybody up.
Yep.
Which makes it so fun because that's what Wolfenstein is. You're one guy that's capable of beating the entire Nazi army. So it's kind of a theme that they have with their games. But I think that's what makes it fun is it's stupid, it's gory, and it's fun. It's fun because there's nothing else like that on the market, you know?
Right.
It's kind of its own unique thing. It is a hack and slash, but then to that same end, the game wouldn't be fun if it wasn't a hack and slash. I think that's part of the humor and the fun of it. So I think it's less so the challenge of the game and more so just the experience of being like, I'm this awesome guy that's going to blow up millions of gory demons from hell, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, so, no, this game's going to be a ton of fun. And I'm so glad Travis mentioned Doom 64, because if he didn't, I was about to. I think it's so cool that that's coming out. I think it's so weird that Doom 64 is going to be playable on the Xbox and PlayStation 4. That sounds weird.
It does.
But I think that's really cool, because that's kind of what started the whole thing, you know? I think it's kind of what made Doom what it is, and so... I think it's really cool that that's something that is now going to be accessible to a lot of other gamers.
Right.
To kind of see like one of the origins on how this game and really a lot of these id Software games started. So I love when games do that, when they kind of go back to their roots too. So they're a ton of fun, and I can't wait to play Doom Eternal.
Sorry, go ahead, Pat.
Okay.
My bad.
I just love the fact that the last two games that we have talked about, Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing, the two
Yes.
most opposite games you could ever have, are coming out on the same day.
That's
I
awesome.
am going to buy both of them on the same day. And I would almost be interested in sitting in a GameStop all day just watching who buys what. You know?
I know.
Like I
Taking
can't wait
stats.
to see like a 6-year-old girl walk in with her mom and say like, I want a copy of Doom Eternal. And then like guys like us come in, like they come in 20-year-olds, like mid-20s dudes, just like, hey, can I get a copy of Animal Crossing, please? Like, I would just love to watch that. That would be so funny.
That's great.
That is fantastic. All I was going to point out, and this is going to be a little bit of a side note, the Doom series is one that Bethesda hasn't screwed up yet. Bethesda, don't screw it up. That's it.
Yeah,
Just
no,
jinxed it, bro.
I probably did. I'll knock on wood.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, this should be really hard to screw up.
It is.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, if they found a way to do that, that would be really disappointing.
The next one that comes out, when they make another Doom game, is going to have microtransactions.
It's going to be an MMO.
Just not this one.
Did you
Give
want to
us-
see
give us a
the
couple
blood
years
and
before you
gore?
do that.
That's an extra $1 per
They're going to make it an
dollar.
MMO. They're going to make it an MMO like Fallout
Oh,
76.
God.
Jesus.
We got to stop this now. We're giving them ideas.
So, yeah, I think...
Do you have honorable mentions, Mike?
Yeah, I have a couple, and I know there's a couple that you said you wanted to mention too.
Yeah.
So, you know, we talked about our big ones. There's a couple smaller ones. Moons of Madness. I talked about this one on another one, and it got delayed like a few months. So I just wanted to give this game another shout out. It's another smaller indie game that looks really horrifying, but it also looks really... I don't know what the word, like magical? I don't know. It looks very artistic and beautiful in the way that it uses horror. It looks like it's more trying to send a message more than anything. So this game looks like a lot of fun. I really can't wait to play that. Saints Row 4 is coming to the Nintendo Switch, which I think is going to be absolutely awesome. And then I think the one that me and Nick both wanted to mention a little bit, which is Persona 5 Royal.
Yep.
I think it's kind of cool because Persona 5 was a lot of fun. It was fucking like 120 hours. Why not add just a little bit more to that game and then resell it? So that's kind of cool. I'll be probably picking that up and hoping that I can just get to the new content in it as soon as I can without having to throw away another 200 hours of my life. But it looks cool.
Oh yeah, some of the new things that are also come with Persona 5 Royal is there's a completely new character.
Mm-hmm.
I believe her name is Katsumi. I can't remember. But yeah, Persona 5 the Royal. It's along the lines of Persona 4 Golden as well, and I can't remember which one was for Persona 3, where it's kind of a re-release of an already made game. And for people who are saying that Persona 5 wasn't finished, shut up. That's not the case here. Like,
Yeah.
Persona 5 Royal is an expansion onto an already finished game. This isn't a new ending or anything that you'd have to buy separately. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. But Anyway, it's a really cool thing because I believe there's new confidants, there's new, again, there's a new character, and there's just more Persona 5. Certain people, when you compare it to like Persona 4, certain people like the more streamlined game of Persona 4 as well, which is kind of weird to say Persona is streamlined because people usually complain that it's too long at times. But Persona 4 Golden is going to be along the lines of Persona 5 Royal, where if you like more content, you'll probably like Persona 5 Royal as well. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be a really cool release. But if you don't want to, or if you don't care about the extra content, Persona 5 is also dirt cheap. There's no reason not to get it, and it's a fantastic game. So there's my sales pitch.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. And then one last thing that I think is worth mentioning is that the TurboGrafx 16 mini is coming out. Because why not re-release every fucking old console as a mini version now?
I was just gonna bring that up. I was reading through our list of releases, and I go, wait, what is this? So while we were talking, I Googled it, and I was like, oh, okay. Never heard of that before, but cool.
Yeah, I'm almost like, why did they feel like that was a thing that needed to be done? Like, I feel like they just saw, oh, NES, SNES, Genesis, PlayStation all did it. I'm going to do it too. And I think like maybe 10 people are going to be buying this.
I mean, like, what games were originally on this system? I don't even know.
I remember it was they had a lot of fighters on it.
Okay.
It was a lot of like that oh my god, what do they call those? The beat 'em ups, like the side-scrolling beat 'em ups and fighter type games.
Okay.
It was a lot of stuff like that. It was a very strange era. I think like Metal Slug was on it too. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that were kind of like fun games, but it's a very niche system.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so surprised that they're doing this. But hey, whatever.
I'm really hoping that it's more along the lines of like an SNES classic, not a PS1 classic, because one of them was done extremely well. One of them shat the bed, and you can find pretty cheap now.
And Sony is winning the video games thing. But just
not the classic war.
From my understanding of this, like 250 people are about to be really happy.
Worldwide.
Pretty much.
God damn.
But yeah, so I think that pretty much summarizes the month that there was. If there's anything that we didn't talk about, please let us know in the comment section below, because we're always looking for other games that maybe we didn't necessarily notice. And let us know what you're going to be picking up this month. I have a feeling this might be a month where people lose a bit of money toward video games. So if there's any games that you're buying, please let us know, because we're always curious what you guys are getting too. And yeah, so with that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.